Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, and the camera saga continues here on the MrMattyPlays channel. Some of you may have been paying attention to this little subplot that's ongoing. Sometimes we're in the studio space, we got nice, high quality production, and sometimes I'm in my bedroom, bed in the background, sometimes it's made, sometimes it's not, we got a webcam, what's going on? Well, usually the factor behind that decision is whether or not my camera's charged. I'm human, sometimes I forget, but this time, there's a plot twist in the camera subplot. And it's that Matty wanted to make a video with the webcam. So how about that? Can you predict what I'm going to do next? We'll find out next time. In all seriousness, a lot of you guys actually like the news videos with the webcam, so I figured, hey, let's keep it up sometimes. I think it works out pretty well. Starting off with Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. This is a game that a lot of us are looking forward to, a very underrated RPG that is getting a remaster this year. There are some changes coming in, and there's more content coming in. We just got a boatload of news to go over today, and I am really pumped up about this because it's far, far larger than I expected it to be. And I think a lot of you guys who are like me and low-key fans of this game are going to enjoy what THQ Nordic is putting together for us. So all of this cropped up via the Twitter account. The day of Re-Reckoning is coming. We're just going to call it the remaster, by the way. I refuse to cater to this name. Kingdoms of Amalur Remaster is scheduled for release September 8th, 2020 on PC, PS4, Xbox One, featuring stunning visuals, refined gameplay, and all new content. Now, we'll get into the new content in a little bit. We still have yet to see the refined gameplay. Sadly, this announcement came alongside another cinematic trailer that you're watching here in the background, where we're seeing the Fateless One, our protagonist, fighting off Niskaru, which is a type of enemy inside Kingdoms of Amalur. Here we can see it on the wiki page, generally speaking, so you guys can get a good summary. It says they've been driven back from the Feylands, but they are still lurking deep underground, and we're going to be fighting them. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be plenty of them to go through. We already did get a look at the stunning visuals, but if you're new here, maybe you didn't see a little bit of what's going on with Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, here's just a couple of screenshots that we're going to sift through as we get into our next bit of information, which is probably the most exciting for a lot of you guys here. It's the new expansion. Yes, Kingdoms of Amalur is getting a new bit of DLC in 2021. Let's read what happened on the Twitter account right now. Fateless One, King of Balades, Siege Breaker, Hero of Mel Senshir. These are all names that you earn throughout your main story adventures. Your journey will continue in 2021 with Fatesworn, a brand new expansion for Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. So this game's getting bigger, dude, and I think this is great for the story because some people, including myself, had a little bit of an issue getting invested in Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning because you didn't know if there was a future there. So knowing that there's an expansion, there's more story coming, it makes me a lot more invested in the lore. It also gives me hope that Project Copernicus will be alive. For those who don't know, Project Copernicus is the canceled MMO for Kingdoms of Amalur that was in development and got shut down alongside the studio that was working on it. And so now there's a pretty good chance that comes out if they're also investing in an expansion. I think it seems like early data has suggested this game will do well. I think committing to an expansion is a pretty big deal. Not a DLC, right? We're not talking like a couple hours. We're talking a full-on expansion, and I cannot wait for that. Now, I was doing research to see if there was any type of canceled DLC or canceled expansions that had not released for Kingdoms of Amalur, and that does not seem to be the case. So this is all brand new content, not rehashed, not brought up from the past, not something that was canceled or scrapped that's now being resurrected. This is seemingly brand new content. We don't have anything really to go off of outside of the name Fatesworn and that it's coming in 2021, but I still think it's incredibly exciting to know that there's going to be more adventures to be had there. As I had mentioned in previous coverage, have not played Kingdoms of Amalur's DLC, so I was saving myself for the actual re-release to play the DLC for the first time, and now I'll have that and then the expansion to look forward to. Now, some have been a bit concerned about this. I noticed when I was reading online through like Twitter forums, as well as various articles and comments on them, that pretty much the game is already kind of bloated and adding more content to it doesn't sound all that appealing. However, I think this is a good thing because there are some things that are not so great about Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, such as, for example, fetch quests, not the most interesting stories being told. Sometimes you do feel like the game's overall a bit bloated. And so I think with an expansion, it's a opportunity to see what exactly they can do with this game if they put a new set of minds to it. How will the quest be handled? How will combat be handled? Will there be new weapons? That's also another incredibly exciting aspect. I imagine there will be new weapon types, and combat's the star of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. So on the speculation side, I'm pretty excited for a new expansion for this game. Now, I don't want to dismiss the idea that it's entirely possible THQ Nordic looks into a sequel as well through this expansion, seeing what ideas work and what ideas don't, because A, it's a safe bet, B, you get to see how many people are invested in new Kingdoms of Amalur content that's attached to the base game itself, and C, you find out what people actually like about the new stuff you've added. So maybe they do put in that new weapon, or maybe they start to focus more on the story, because Kingdoms of Amalur is a gameplay focused role-playing game. So maybe this time around they say, hey, we have the gameplay in place, we know it works, let's see what happens when we take some more liberations with the story, making more choice and consequence. That would just be my speculation, because the other possibility is that they know that this is going to be a popular series. RPGs are on the up and up, and this game actually, when it first started selling, did fine. It did great, actually. It exceeded EA's expectations. Just the reality was they spent way too much money on this game. Much like, say, a situation with BioShock Infinite, it could only sell so many copies before it put the company out of business. And we all know the story with Kurt Schilling and 38 Studios. But yeah, it's definitely possible that THQ already knows there's value here in this IP, and they are going to go ahead and turn this into a franchise, which, as someone who loves RPGs and really likes this game, thumbs up for me, man. Let's do it. Now, also, there's been a release date change. If you recall, in that initial tweet I read, it said that this game is coming September 8th, 2020. That's a little bit less than a month delay for this game. If you guys do not recall, Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning was supposed to release on August 18th, 2020, as reported by an Amazon listing, and now it's been pushed back a little bit. I think this is something that's just happening across the industry. We also saw the Mafia Definitive Edition, a part of the Mafia trilogy, which is a remake of Mafia 1, get bumped back into September. The reasoning for that delay was because of course, the pandemic and struggles with working on the game in a remote setting. And so I imagine maybe the same thing is happening here for Kingdoms of Amalur, because no one's really immune to this scenario right now where we can all go back to normal work lives. So I feel like this got bumped back. Sadly, though, it was accompanied by just a cinematic trailer. Myself and many others are super curious what exactly THQ Nordic means when they say refined gameplay. I don't know if it's something as simple as like bringing the camera in a little bit more. Sometimes the camera would be very wonky in Kingdoms of Amalur, so perhaps they're actually changing that up. It could be something small like that, or something much deeper like just cleaner animations. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do to refine a already functioning and excellent combat system. Now, in a world where a lot of updates are free and they're sort of expected by a lot of gamers, I think this is important to cover, which is that I don't think Kingdoms of Amalur's expansion will be free. So you can eventually pre-order what is called the Fate Edition for Re-Reckoning. And the original version of the game, no special edition, whether it's collectors or the Fate Edition, is $40. However, for $55 US, Re-Reckoning will also include the brand new expansion, Fatesworn, which is releasing sometime in 2021. So given the base game price and then this Fate Edition, which will include the expansion, it seems like, separately speaking, this expansion will go for $15 to $20, which is a pretty fair price, I would say, but it's something that you should be aware of. If you do want to play this, you're going to have to pay a little bit extra money. If you've never played Kingdoms of Amalur and you're a bit hesitant, I personally would recommend just buying the base game, seeing if you like that, because if you want more of that, I imagine that's what the expansion will be. But don't buy into something that you don't know much about. Fortunately, THQ has been smart about this. Pre-orders are not live for this because consumers have not been informed on A, what the remaster looks like in action, and B, what exactly this expansion is. So I wouldn't say buy in entirely unless you are like a die-hard fan or you've been following this game for a while, something along those lines. But do know this expansion, if you do buy the game separately from the Fate Edition, you will have to pay some extra money for it. So keep that in mind for the future when you are going to finance things. But anyway, that is pretty much everything rounded up today for Kingdoms of Amalur. A lot of really exciting information. We've got a new expansion, new release date, new trailer. We saw some enemies in the trailer like the Niskaru. So There's a lot to digest there, but ultimately the game's coming in September, so we won't have to wait too long. And what's also interesting about this is this was originally supposed to be shown off at the IGN Summer of Gaming event, but then it got canceled seemingly because it no longer was there on the schedule. So I do wonder if they have gameplay ready and they're just picking a day that's better to show it. Maybe they'll be there during Xbox's Games Showcase, or maybe not. And what's also interesting to note is that Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, none of that was mentioned. Perhaps there is an upgrade that comes in 2021 alongside the expansion, but that's just some ending rambling speculation from your boy. That'll do it for me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Kingdoms of Amalur in the comments down below. What do you make of all this? Fire away. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all the patrons who continue to support the flow of content here. We got a ton of RPG news to go through today. Tomorrow we're talking about Steel Rising, the new Spiders RPG that I'm so pumped about. So we got a lot of good stuff coming on the channel. Let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for supporting me, and I'll talk with you soon. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all.